you know, the normal little shenanigans. Today we would not be long because she got to go to work. I just finished up charging and I said, you know what? Let me just go on and say hello to you guys. Hope everything is well with you all. Not quite sure how your moving is going. How's your health and fitness journey coming along? But I just pray that yours are doing amazing since the last time that we communicated. Today, as you all know, is Thursday and it's Health and Fitness Day. And I just drop in just to check in with you guys to update you guys on how my health and fitness is coming along. And you guys can just give a little tweak and check with your own individual health and fitness, okay? I did not work out today. I just want to get that off the chest right off the bat because I think I'm going to start keeping Thursdays for my recovery day. Since tomorrow I'm starting back again after I rest today. So on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I went hard, guys. I did a little bit of everything. I included boxing again. Still have not uploaded the content for boxing, but this journey, I am definitely happy that I'm not doing this alone. There's many others on my Facebook page as well that is going on the same health and fitness journey with me. So I'm not alone in this, but it's always great to just follow up and follow through on a weekly basis so you can stay accountable not only to others but to yourself. So I'm staying accountable today to let you all know that even though she didn't work out today, I am recovering because I went 3 days consecutively. And on today, I felt like I'm going to start taking Thursdays for that recovery and making sure that I'm replenishing the body and, doing all those nice little things. I did um, added a little difference in the mix because I remember a few weeks ago I just felt like even though I was working out, I was eating well, um I felt like my snacks was limited. Okay, so today as a healthy treat, and it's probably not the best healthy treat, but I went out and I bought me one of these Nature Valley, these little thing like this, just in case, I just can't make it home. It's healthier than ice cream. I know it's not the best thing, but it's healthier than ice cream. And I thought that I would just add that into my mix so that when I'm working past 1 o'clock and I just want a little bridge to gap, if you're just coming in here, go hit that like button. If you're passing through, hit the like button. If you're on your way out, you hit the like button still. Go ahead, get that little like button in there. I appreciate all 13 of y'all. Okay. But yes, guys, as I was mentioning to you, I added a little different tweak to my eating pattern. They are a little bit sweet on the sweeter side, and yes, you can get carried away with these snacks, but I just felt like this is much better than me adding on my ice cream onto my health and fitness journey. One of these, maybe two. If you go to three, then you want to get addicted. Don't buy them anymore. Okay, if you start to eat three of these consecutively, don't buy them again. Find something else because that means your little sweet tooth is very high. So, like I mentioned to you, one of these can help bridge you to the other gap, which would be for dinner, and that's what I did so far. Nothing outrageous, but on my health and fitness journey, I did started up my hiking. I did mention that last time to you guys, and today is just one of those days where we're just going to reminisce. It's not a lot going on here in Hawaii. I'm under a tree, as y'all can see. At 1 o'clock, they're giving a 40% per ride, and I'm about to go take that bad boy. Yes, ma'am. I'm about to take it. It's 4 minutes, so I have 1 hour in order to get probably a few rides in so that I can go ahead and complete my quota for the day, which I already completed it for the day, but I'm just going to do a little bit extra. It is graduation season, so shout out to all you graduates out there, all you that's moving on to different levels of educations in life, for those that is just finishing and saying this is kaput for me. Whichever decision you make sure that you make something, okay? Otherwise, you're going to just stay stagnant. Make the decision of moving on in your career, or if that's it, then punto final for you, and you don't want to go anymore, then that's your decision as well. But I just want to say shout out to this graduation week. It is crazy here in Hawaii because everybody wants to come on and everybody wants to you know get their graduation out of the way so they can plan for whatever future they have in store for them. And traffic is going to be backed up within the next 2 to 3 hours. So I'm planning to quickly come on, quickly get off of here, and then say a bitty good eve to you guys, because I want to make sure and get like 2 to 3 more rides in before I moved, start heading home. Because, like I say, all the graduation is going on this week, all the way on till the end of this week. So just be mindful if you are in Hawaii, be mindful of traffic, be mindful that whenever you leave your house that you are not only focusing on you driving, but also everybody else around you. You got to drive for like 200,000 cars all in one sitting. I'm telling you, because you're looking for you're looking for the other person. Like today, I was coming in to Walmart to get charged, and a person was I was in the turning lane to turn left, and the lanes, you either can turn left or you go straight. Well, the individual that was in the right lane thought they could cut straight in front of me and just cut me off like nothing. And I'm looking like, oh my God, where did you get your driver's license from? Like, I mean, I started questioning myself, like these people that literally is on the streets today, they don't know how to drive. Okay, so be mindful that when you're out there and there's anything going on, any parade, any stuff, that you guys are not only taking care of yourself, but you're looking out for other people around you too, because you never know when that cuckoo person is going to just cut you off for no reason at a stop sign and don't even say sorry. Okay, that's what happened to me today. But anyway, I counted all joy. I didn't get upset. I just laughed. you know I didn't thought that why would it be upset. The person that did that in the wrong lane, that means they weren't mentally here anyway. So why would I go ahead and try to scream or yell or get frustrated? No way. I ain't giving nobody my energy this day and time. Paulette ain't giving nobody all of my energy at all. Okay, and anytime you see you getting to the point where your energy is being like pull from you, you probably need to do some little chop, some little slap, chop chops. I'll be the good eves, because your energy is part of your peace. So when you see that pull out of you, your peace is gone too, and all of a sudden you're frustrated for the rest of the week. I'm not gonna love that to happen. And right now, when you see me currently the way that I'm moving on my patience level, oh my gosh, by the way, speaking of patient, let me tell you, hello, Mrs. TNT. Hope all is well with you, sister. But speaking of patience, guys, today I had one of those days where I'm like scratching my head, because I had a ride. This individual pinned their ride on the opposite angle. So because I have patience, I always pray to the Lord to give me patience. So I prayed for patience, and he sent me some scenarios that I have to roll my eyes. I think my eyes rolled back around of my head today. So I'm pinned on one side of the highway, right? And he's on the opposite side of the highway and telling me where he's pinned, that I must come and get him, right? So immediately I felt, this individual is a little bit not all here. And by the way, it is mental health month, and I could tell you all of them are coming out of the woodworks, okay, the bushes, okay. So he pins one side of the highway and tells me he is like probably a mile down the street at a gas station, that I must come and get him. So I said, you know what, Lord, this is a test. And I need to pass this test, because I'm tired of you sending me these scenarios now. I think I got the patience level now. I go there, I get to the area. He's telling me, okay, since you didn't make it to the gas station, I'm going to move to the bus stop. I say, oh, I know he lied. I know you lied, because now I got to drive not only on the opposite side of the street that you had me pinned from. I have to make a U-turn and then drive farther up the road in order to pick you up past the gas station. So I said, let me just take this one, and after that, I'm going to go charge anyway. I don't need to take all my energy and throw it on this individual. So I get to the area, and he is reprimanding me, because he's telling me that, you took a little bit longer. And I'm looking at him, and I said, sir, I said, your pin was all the way on the opposite side, like a mile away, and you're all the way on the opposite side, and I had to go around and do the the U-turn in order to get to you. So he tells me, he said, oh, okay, well, my bad, I'm sorry. So we're driving all the way to his house, which is probably 20 miles up the street. And in Hawaii, 20 miles can be probably like 40 minutes, depending on traffic. It was a little thickums the traffic was, right? So I go, we get halfway, and he said, "Can you take me home?" And I look at him, I was like, "Huh?" I said, "Sir, I'm going to take you, where you have your self pin." He said, "But I want to go home." And I said, he's a grown man, by the way. And I look back and I said, "Sir, I'm going to take you where your pin is." Now I got to pull my mommy card out because a grown man is acting like a child in the back of my car. And I'm like 2 seconds away from, pulling over and telling him to get out. So he comes and he said, "But why can't you take me home?" I said, "Sir, because you did not pin at your house location. You pin at the bus stop. So I'm gonna take you at the bus stop." He said, "I just we had a party last night." He said, "And they didn't want me to come home, and I have to go get my car." And he said, "By the way, I don't have a car. I'm driving my uncle." He gave me this long story, and I was like, "Why did I didn't want to hear all this?" Okay, I don't want to hear all of this, but I just tolerated it the whole time. Drop him off at the bus stop, and I was like, "Who? Finally, I'm over the crazies, right?" I said, "Have a great day, sir." Mind you, I got another flag. Thank you very much. Anytime you see I have to say anything to anybody, they're offended. So I got another flag because they felt, customer satisfaction was not so satisfied because I had to tell him I was not taking him home because that was not what was pinned on the app. Okay. So anyway, moving on. I said, "With the Lord, you already sent me a person I had to work my patience with. Hopefully, the next individual I get will be much better." So I get another individual. This is a teenager now, getting ready to go to school, and he has to drop off something. So he has two stops. I get to the first stop. He said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry. Can you go on the other side?" I'm like, "Oh, here you go again, Lord. You are a comedian. Now you all of a sudden is testing my patient again because he pinned here, but then he's telling me I got to go all the way another block up to the right, and that's where he has to be." So I get to the other block. I said, "I'm going to deal with this." Go all the way around to the other block, parked. He gets out of the car. This is a teenager now. After the crazy guy, now I have another teenager that just testing me. So he comes in the car and he said, "Well, you know what? I can't find the location." He said, "I'm sorry to ask you again. Can you go?" I said, "No, no, no." I said, "Your pin here." I said, "Your time is up." I said, "However, though, I think you need to call the individual." I said, "What are you looking for?" He said, "Well, I'm looking for the school." I said, "Sir," I told the little teenager, "Sir," I said, "if you had communicated, I would have told you that it was right behind there, but I thought you were looking for an individual." So he says, "No, I'm not looking for an individual." He said, "I was looking for the school because I got to drop off this laptop." So here I am, like, okay, I already told him his time was up. I was about to, slap his money and keep it moving because I had the rights to do so. But it was always something. Let me tell you, whenever you want to do something and the Lord is working on you, you're going to be pricked. Okay. Now, I had the right to cancel his ride, but then I felt bad because he said, um, "No worries." He says, "Okay." He was so calm and collective. Let me tell you, sometimes it's always good to stay in your seat, being the other individual. Because if I was dealing with a different type of kid, I probably would have left him right on the side because I had the rights to cancel the ride and get paid in full. However, though, because he had such a great spirit and so calming, I felt bad to leave him out there because he was in the sticks at a school, and his high school was all the way on the opposite side. So let me tell y'all, my heart was pricked. I was driving off, and I said, "I can't do this to this kid. This kid is going to be out here. He's a haole, and in Hawaii, and haoles, it's like a no-no. He's in a location that he's supposed to be in the first place." So I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk to him. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Who are you looking for? Let's do this again." I said, "I hate to leave you out here and then something happened to you and it's my fault. I feel guilty about it when I hear it on the news." He said, "Ma'am, it's okay. I'll walk to school." Oh my gosh, guys. Anyway, I convinced him to get back in the car, and I was going to find the school, which I found the school. It was right where it was in the back of the development that he went to, but he just pinned the wrong location. So he drop it off. I'm taking him to school, and I said, his name was Rebel. I said, "Rebel," I said, "why didn't you communicate? If you communicated, I would have told you where the school where I thought you were looking for the housing development." He's like, "No, I was looking for a school. I had to drop off the laptop." So he dropped that off. I dropped him at school. So I did my good deed today, even though I didn't have to. But when you deal with people that has great personality and so calming, he was such a calming kid. His parents did well with him. Okay, because some kids would have been trying to cuss, trying to get frustrated and lose their temper, lose their cool. He stayed collective, but I could see in his face that he was overwhelmed because he was trying to get this computer. Came to find out he was dropping off his mother's laptop, and he couldn't figure out where the school was, and she yelled at him. So he came to the car and he said, I'll figure it out. He said, don't worry about it, it's okay. He said, my mom just yelled at me. His little eyes, he's probably like 17 or 16 years old, and he got a little teary eye because he's frustrated, but he kept it under control. And I said, boy, get in this car. Ain't no way I can leave you out here in the sticks by yourself. So I took him to his mom, dropped him off at the school. And when I got to the school, I felt such a relief to know that, that could have been my kid out there. That's why I always tell my kids, my kids are very calm. They have calm spirit. They have calmer spirit than me. Oh my gosh, my kids, they're very calm, very collective. Now, my daughter, she's mixed. She can have the calm spirit, but you trigger her a little bit too much, she becomes her mommy. So at the end of the day, my son is calm. He's definitely a calm child. He don't fly off the handle. He does speak up for himself, but he's not somebody that will get so irritated that they're about to take the nails out of the wall. No, no, no. My kids are very, very calm in that area, because they know. Don't be coming around my house talking about you and take the nails out of my house. That's my house. Okay, find your own house to take the nails out of. You calm yourself down. Go sit down over there and breathe. Breathe 10 to 20 times until you calm down. Okay, and then we can have a conversation. That type of stuff goes on in my house. But like, long story short, that kid was very well parent. I could see both parents in his life just putting in whatever little nuggets he needed, because by him staying calm and collective, even though he was going through his turbulations and his chaos, he pricked my heart that I could not leave him, even though I had the rights to. But I could not leave him because in my heart, I couldn't do it to a kid that was so collective. Like, calm and was willing to walk. By the way, his school was probably like 10 blocks away. Driving in car was faster, but he was 10 blocks away. And I said, oh my gosh, you see that? So that was my morning, guys. And then the final ride that I got was an amazing individual. The first thing he came in, saw my two little gray hairs and start calling me ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, he's an older gentleman too. He's probably his 60s, 80s. I was like, listen, I know you from the South, okay? Because you coming to Hawaii calling me ma'am just because you see your gray hair. He said, no, 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 no. He said, I'm from the South. I said, I knew it. And guess where he was from? North Carolina. He said, I'm from North Carolina, I think he told me. And I said, oh, okay, because they do a lot of yes ma'ams too. Even the Filipinos does a lot of yes ma'am. Yes ma'am, yes ma'am. I was like, oh, okay, you all definitely got some manners going on. It's so nice to hear that people has been raised correctly, and then you go to a different, you know, state, and then you hear them come right out, and you could identify, like, I know where you from. I know where you're from. And ooh, when the rude one comes around, you be like, I know where you come from. I know which part you came from. Like, ain't that awesome? But anyway, Sister Nicole, what you saying? She says, sis, you remember the Bible warns us that patience comes with tribulation. So when you pray for patience, you get tribulations to go with it, to keep you patient. Girl, yes. I believe that. That's a word right there. I believe that. Okay. But I already told the Lord, I said, Lord, I understand the patient. No, don't send me no more tribulations. I understand it now. But he ain't listening to me no more, sis. I don't know. I may have to fast on that one. I may have to fast on that one, girl. He ain't listening to me. He keeps sending them to me because I was asking him first, like, give me patience, Lord, give me patience, give me patience. Certain people you just need extra patience for. And then all of a sudden, here you are coming around. I'm like, Lord, I don't need no more tribulations. Hello, Sister Virginia. Welcome to Life with Paulette. Hope all is well with you. We're just here chit-chatting, girlfriend, about this patience and my day so far, how it's going. It's been one of those days, sister, so pray for me, okay? It's been one of those days where the trials and tribulations had come along, tapping at my door, and I had to remember to re-pray again and say, Lord, I don't need it. You can have it, okay? Just keep it. Keep it, Lord. I'm good. I'm good, but he is not listening to me, Sister Virginia. He's not. He keeps sending them to me. And so right now I'm parked in the parking lot, and I'm about to, you know, once I end my live, I'm going to go ahead, pray before I drive off, because you never know what you're gonna get when you get out there, and one good thing I want to share with you guys that was definitely a little heart wrenching for me. So after I finish up with all of the extra drama that I had this month, I call it drama, but I think, like what Sister Nicole says, it was just a lot of trials, because the Lord remembered that I asked and prayed for patience, so He was just sending me the tribulations. Okay. However, though, I was in my car. In my car, I normally play my gospel music, on low, very calming. I don't like all no crazy stuff going on. I really keep my car in a calm sense, right? And this older lady comes in my car. This is my third ride after the young kid, and she just came in my car, and she probably heard the music, because I was like, I can't remember which song was on, but whatever song was on, that was one of my favorite songs. And I was like, just moving my head to it. And she said, "Oh," she said, "You're a Christian." And I said, "Yes, I believe." And then she said, "That is so good." She started telling me about God. I mean, this is the first time I had a Lyft ride that went straight at it. She was like, she said, "Oh," she said, "that is so beautiful." She said, "God is so good." She said, "I lost my mom." She's telling me she lost her mom on Saturday, and she's was overwhelmed. And I told her, her name, what was her name again? Not Olivia, Diana, Miss Diana. I said, "Miss Diana," I said, "it's gonna be okay. I pray for strength for you," and I give her my condolence. She said, "It's gonna be okay." She said, "Because I just want you to know that God is definitely giving me the strength that I need, because I just put my mom to rest." She said, "And you know what? My boss gave me," she started telling me all these good stuff about how the last month that she'd been through, and then she still could see the joy. And she said, "I counted all joy." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's what Pastor normally talk about, when we counted it all joy." And she's like, "I'm gonna be okay." She said, "I'm a little sad." And she got teary eyes. You lose somebody that you dearly love. And she said, "My job gave me a month off." And guess what? She said, within that month that I was off, she said my mom passed within that month. She said, but they give her permission for a whole month so she could go take care of her mom. She said that was a beautiful thing. So she's telling me all this story, and she's telling me about God. And she said, "You know what's even beautiful?" She said, "When you see," she said, "the resurrection." She said, "On the resurrection," she said, "we're going to see again. I know I'm going to see again." Now, she don't believe the way we believe. Yeah, the the quickening thing. She don't believe that part. I just want you all to know, they have a different view of the resurrection. However, though, she says she's going to, in her voice, her thing, she's going to see her mom again, and they'll be back together again. But we already, pastor already taught us how, and all that good stuff about what's going to be going on when you do come back. You coming back now. However, though, how it's supposed to go down, which I'm not able to explain it to you guys. You guys got to go and listen to Pastor so you can get it. But she at least knew about the resurrection, and I thought that was beautiful this morning. So that was one up that I had this morning. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then the last ride, which was a guy, with all the respect, he was in his 60s too, retired military, and he was just saying, "Yes, ma'am," and "Yes, ma'am." And then I was like, "Is it my gray hair?" He's like, "No, that's just how we were raised. He said, but nowadays you can't hardly find that going on anymore, because everybody is changed, and the way that they're developing their kids and stuff like that." So we shared really good things. So in all of my morning, guys, I had some chaotic ones, I had some crazy ones, but in all of that, I had people that knew about God, that talked about God, that knew the importance of connecting with God, that I didn't have to say nothing. They just came in the car and automatically start to, you just let it release. And you had some people that was brought up right, that respect, and still hold that today. And that is really important, guys, when you're training these kids. Don't be scared and spank them now. Now, listen, one more story I have for you, and I'm going to let you go. So, in Hawaii, you're not allowed to, use your hands, okay? However, though, you can roll up your little paper. You know how to do it. You can roll up a newspaper, and you can go at it with these kids. Okay, now I'm in the hospital. This is my son. He was 4 years old, and he has already started the special needs schooling, but they had him in a classroom with kids that was all the way out there, like, severe special needs. Okay, these one would throw tantrums and roll up on the ground and all that stuff, which for my kids that's foreign, because I don't care how special you is, you roll this thing up for you. You better get it together. You could understand. So he came home one day with that, because he saw the kids would throw a tantrum and they'll get what they want. So he came home one day and he was like, oh, I guess that's the way we're going to do it. So I took him to the hospital that evening for his checkup. We get in the middle of the hospital and he wanted a candy. He wanted to buy something from the little store, and I said, "No, you're not going to have it, because we're going to go home and we're going to eat." You don't know. Sometimes you just got to be stern on what it is you're going to do, okay? And I said, "No, we're not purchasing anything today. We're going straight home." Well, anyway, at 4 years old, he's in the middle of the hospital. My son, he sat on the ground and laid out and just said, "Rah!" He starts screaming up in the hospital, right? This is my baby Jaden, my good child, like the one with all the patience, the calm child. He thought he was gonna throw a tantrum, girl. And I was in front of the little store, and they had newspapers, and I had me my little paint stick. That paint stick, you mix it. The lady, I grabbed the newspaper. I said, "I'm gonna buy this paper from you." She said, "No, no, you could use it." I said, "Thank you." I got her newspaper. I rolled that paint stick up in that, and I slapped him 2 times on his behind. And I said, "You get up from there and you walk ahead of me." Girl, did you know security came out at me and they told me, they were like, "Ma'am, so you're not allowed to wear any." I said, "Hold up, sir." And this is the police. Now, at that moment in time, my mother, you gonna tell me I can't spank my kids for acting unruly? I'm sorry for you, okay? So I stood up to him nicely now, because you know how to try. Anybody gonna choke me out no time soon. I had to stand up nicely, and I said, "Sir, if I do not correct that behavior, he will be in your hands, and y'all don't want him, don't you?" And he said, "I don't understand, man. I just wanted to make sure, because somebody in the hospital had reported and said that I had spanked him, because like if I was abusing him." I said, "I did legally." I say, "In Hawaii, you can slap him with the newspaper." I said, "And there's the newspaper." He didn't see my little paint stick. None of his business what was in there, but it was a little small little paint stick, and it was under that newspaper that I had ball up there. And I made my son had it. And that was the last time at 4 years old. My son is 17 years that he ever threw a tantrum at me. And that police, nobody coming out of nowhere telling me how to correct my child and parent my child, because that is my responsibility. Okay. And right now, since I'm on a tangent of these kids, I have to find out that at 13 years old, you can't even check your kids' records. What a child can take care of themselves at 13 years old? Huh? How about that? At 13 years old, the hospitals is telling me that the government made a rule that the parents no longer can check their records. No, what is it that my son or daughter got to be doing behind my back? And yet, here's the kicker. You are responsible for them. If they want to make the rules to tell me as a parent that I can't see their medical history anymore because they're grown, then why they don't pay the bills? See, you see how it is, why we gotta be careful who all we voting for? You gotta be careful. Now at 13 in Hawaii, or if my daughter has anything go on in her life, and that's because I love 2 to 3% individuals of no good for nothing parents decided they were gonna do something wrong with the child, and the other 97% got to punish now. Now I have to go to the hospital and request to see all of her medical, okay, which I think is wrong, because I'm paying the medical bills. I'm paying. If she go out there, which God forbid, and get herself in any situations, it's not the government's responsibility. They're looking at the parents. So why is it that you're making these decisions, telling us we can't look and see if what's going on with our kids, because we may stop them from doing stupidness? Is that the case? Like, I mean, I don't understand it. I just want to go on a tangent with you guys, because I'm having a little issue with it, because my daughter just turned 13, and here we are trying to figure out why she disappeared off of her. Or we can't see her files anymore. Okay, I don't know how your state is, but in Hawaii is wild. Okay. is wild. First, it used to be at 17, then they shortened it to 16, then it went to 14. Now it's 13 years old. So if you're in Hawaii and you don't know that rule, you better figure it out, especially if you got little girls, little boys, and they want to be doing a whole bunch of foolishness with your children. You can't see their medical records, okay? You have to go and ask permission to see your 13-year-old records. And if something is wrong with them, it's your fault. So I have a problem with that. I found that out a few months ago, and to me, that's just over. Whew, that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot. So just pray, pray. Oh my gosh. Sister TNT said, I wouldn't even give him that explanation because that is my child number one. Exactly. Well, he was the popo. He had the gun. So I was like, well, at least somebody passed by would have heard that. I wasn't fussing with him. I just let him know. I was checking him to let him know, listen, I gotta deal with it. Otherwise, he gonna end up with you if he be throwing those tantrums like that. And if he can't handle himself in my household, then what make you think behind closed doors? I mean, closed bars is gonna work anyway. Okay? What makes you think that? So he turned around and he was like, I understand, man. He was really good with it when he saw that I had my point. And I told him, this is legal, a newspaper. And I had the article. I even told him to quote the article that it said I could spank my child in public if I have to, but following these terms. And he said, I agree, I understand. And that's how you see I got away with that. I never had the issue again. And Jaden never. And I was 4 years old and he's 17. He's going to be 18. So, like I tell you all, they be trying you. They don't want you to touch them. They're trying to do all that control, like Sister Nicole said, controlling tough from the government. That's the thing. I'm giving them all my control. Imagine right now, I have a problem with the medical portion that they're controlling for 2 to 3% of parents that is no good for nothing. 97% of parents have to punish because their kids, they don't even know their medical. Do you know my son is 17? I can't see his medical, and he has to wait until he's 18 in order to open up his own portal till he's 18. So yeah, he have one more year, but my daughter is 13. She's 13. So how many more years she has? She has another 5 years to go, and God forbid anything happens to her or whatever. You never know what's going to happen with these kids, but you can't see their files. You have to go ask permission so they can show you your kids' files. Imagine. That is crazy to me. That is wild. Um, Mrs. TNT say you cannot hit the child in the United States with nothing at all. In Hawaii you can. You can spank them with newspaper. The newspaper where you fold up, you can. You can. They're saying it for no marks. Like a lot of time people will punch the kid or hit the kids with their hand and like abuse the child, but you can roll up that newspaper in Hawaii. Ha, ha, come to Hawaii then. No wonder the ohana, the kids are very, is very, any disrespected kid you see here is they're not from here. Okay, they probably flew in somewhere from somewhere. They don't be coming around to that mess up here. They're very respectable kids, the ones that is treating right. They don't play around. No, anytime you come to Hawaii and you see a bunch of little disrespectful kids, they're from another one of the islands, not Hawaiian. Okay, I just want to clarify that because there are a bunch of different islands, but you know who's from here and who came in. All right. So yeah, you can in Hawaii, you can get that newspaper, that little roll of newspaper, and you could spank them with it because you can't have no marks, of course. But some kids they understand the first spank. Mrs. CNT said, I wouldn't have told Mr. Popo if he wanted to take him home and raise him and pay the bills. Exactly. Well, that's what many parents eventually is going to start saying too. They're going to do the same thing. Like, you know what? They don't want, the government don't want them. Right now, we walking around with a bunch of, this is mental health month. And there's a bunch of people with mental health, young and old. The government don't want to work with them. They don't want no dealing with them. Well, then leave the parent, make the parents deal with these kids because y'all don't want them either. So what's going on here in Hawaii? A bunch of homeless people, mentally ill on the street that get caught up on drugs and prostitution. because they can't live around the family, because if they're overworn, they're welcome, and the family can't tolerate them around because they're stealing everything, they're being very aggressive and abusive, so they prefer to just go on the streets, and the family got to let them go. But these mental ill people on drugs running around on these streets out here because they're going to run a raggedy. Okay, they're gone, nothing you can do with it, nothing you can do with it. But mental health is definitely part of your health and fitness. So today, since we're talking about health and fitness and mental health month, I just suggest that you guys, if you are dealing with any scenario, don't take it slightly. Okay, you seek help. And for those that probably live in a different state, they have different rules. Just to let you all know that, at 13, at least in Hawaii, I don't know about your state, we are not allowed to see those kids' records, okay, unless we ask for approval. I have to ask permission, but I'm paying the health insurance. Who does that? I guess, only in America. Anyway, that's all I have for you all today. Thank you for joining in to Life of Paulette. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. These are just conversations on the go that I definitely like to come on and chit chat with you guys. Some days I know what I want to talk about, and some days I don't know what I want to talk about, but I come on anyway just to say hello to you guys. I thought it was going to be a little 10 minutes one, but I see that we are on 30 something already. So that means y'all get the memo. Health and fitness, mental health month is the month of May. Check yourself, check your siblings. The red flags is going to come out to you. You're going to see them. So when you start seeing red flags, y'all start to move differently. Okay? You move differently. Sister TT says, I have a nephew named Jaden. Oh, nice. Yes, Jaden. That's my boy. But anyway, guys, I'll see you all in the next one. Love you. I bid you good eve. Bye bye, babies. Bye bye.